Now, if you've been following along in the last two movies, we have made the eyes and teeth a little bit brighter, as well as removed some blemishes in this image. So if you hadn't followed along, your image might look a little bit different. But in this movie, we're going to look at another technique that can save us time by quickly softening skin and sharpening the eyes and lips in a portrait. We're going to do this by using the adjustment brush. Let's zoom in by using Command Option 0 to zoom in to 100%. And then I'll hold down the space bar in order to access the hand tool so that I can navigate and reposition the image in the preview area. Now, to select the adjustment brush, we'll tap the K key. You can see that there's a number of adjustments that have already been added to this image in the previous videos. So in this case, I want to decrease the clarity slider. You might have other settings that have been loaded here in the adjustment brush. So to reset all of them and just add a negative clarity, I'm going to click on the minus icon. Now let's bring that all the way down to the left for a moment, and then I'm going to paint in the image area. So let's scroll down and get a little bit larger of a brush. And I'm going to make sure that the brush has a nice feather on it. And I might bring the flow down a little bit so that I can paint multiple times over the same area in order to build up this effect. But just for the moment, I'm going to leave it on 100% so that we can see what the effect is. When I click and drag over this area, I think you can see that we are getting this nice skin softening effect. However, we are also softening things like the eyebrow because I painted over them. So that's the effect that we're after. I think that's a little bit too much softening, but I'm just going to tap the delete key to remove that pin and make a slight adjustment here to my flow. I'm going to bring it down to somewhere around 50%, scroll up, and then increase the clarity so that it's still negative, but not all the way. All right, let's zoom out just a little bit using Command minus. I'll zoom out once, twice, and maybe 3 times so that I can see her face, and I'll use the space bar to reposition. Then I'll use the left bracket to get a little bit smaller of a brush, and here's where you can choose one of 2 ways to do this. We could either choose a smaller brush and paint over the entire skin region, including the eyes and the lips and the eyebrows, and then remove that area from this adjustment. Or you could be more careful when you initially paint and make sure that you avoid those areas. Personally, I think it's easier if we just drag the brush across the entire area of the skin here, softening everything, including the eyes, as well as the lips and the nose. And I'm just doing this multiple times because if you recall, down here, I set my flow down to 50%, and that way I'll just make sure that around the edge of the brush, we won't be able to tell what's been softened and what hasn't because it'll be a gradual fade. All right, I'll zoom out once more using Command minus, get a little bit smaller of a brush using the left bracket key, and just come down a little bit further on the chin and the neck. All right, if we want to see this mask overlay, we can click on the mask, and you can see that I've really oversprayed into the hair area. So I'm going to switch to the eraser tool, making sure that the eraser tool has a little bit of a feather on it, using the right bracket to get a little bit larger of a brush, and then we can just erase this away from that hair area down here on her sweater, and then come up on the other side to make sure that we're really only softening the skin area. All right, now we've got that nice feather, that soft edge all the way around so that I don't really have to worry about an abrupt transition. So I think that I can leave it right about there. Let's turn off the mask. And now I need to make sure that I'm not affecting the eyes or the eyebrows or her lips. So I'll get a little bit smaller brush. I'll be sure that I'm still erasing. And that's a little bit too small of a brush. So let's zoom in. And then I'm going to just paint over the eye area with the eraser so that I am erasing that negative clarity over the eyes, over her eyebrows, back over the other eye over here, and down here on her lips. And you want to be careful not to click on any of those adjustment pins because that would select those. All right, and let's toggle back on the mask to make sure that we didn't miss anything. So I might go a little bit further here, the side of the mouth, might go a little bit further on the side of the eyes. So I don't want to decrease the sharpening there. Toggle off the mask. And now in order to preview this, we can toggle the P key. So there's before and there's after. And the great thing about using this technique is that what we're really doing is we're just softening the light. So we're not smudging any pixels or getting rid of essential detail like the eyes and the eyebrows. Instead, we're just giving them a little bit softer skin as if we were photographing this with a little bit softer light.